Group of Manhattan yuppies go on a road trip, taking a shortcut through a small town along the way. Before they know it, they are pulled over by a local cop and taken to the judge, a over 100-year-old man who loves to punish by death. Hello, everyone. I'm Caleb J.
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
Welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Bad. All right, today we'll be talking about 1991's dark comedy, Nothing But Trouble. Film that it bombed pretty badly when I was looking it up. Was hated by critics upon release, and it's had several cast members. One in particular, but I think when I was looking up, a few others have spoken since then that have not said too kind of things about the film in recent years. With that said, I'll shoot over to you for the scores.
Oh boy, Nothing But Trouble. This is sitting at a 13% Rotten Tomatoes score with a 47% audience score, so pretty universally hated by everybody. Critics' consensus reads, "There's nothing good in Nothing But Trouble, a grotesque comedy that is more likely to make audiences ill than make them laugh." This grossed $8 million on a $40 million budget and assured Dan Aykroyd never directed a movie again.
Oof. Yeah. This was rough. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 did better. It made me laugh more. Hell, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 made me laugh more, and it has a pretty similar fucking concept.
Yeah, this is what happens when Dan Aykroyd's fever dream comes to life, because that's where this came from. And
I have that. I got all that in there.
And also, Dan, at that point in his career, he'd done Ghostbusters. Like, he was like, he could kind of write his own check. Like, no studio was gonna tell Dan Aykroyd, like, this is weird. They trusted him to deliver. And you throw Chevy Chase and John Candy and Demi Moore, all pretty reliable box office draws, into this thing, and you're like, this should be a guarantee. But as we'll unravel, it was not.
No, not at all. Before we do that, though, we kind of get into development here. The top of the episode question is what's your history with essentially the many comedians featured in this film?
I'm a lifelong fan of Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, and John Candy. I like all these. I like their films. I don't like Chevy Chase as a person, but Dan Aykroyd. He's horrible. He's such a prick in every possible way.
I don't know if you ever watched it, but Community, the show he was on.
No, I haven't watched it, but I've heard the stories.
Yeah, I've seen. I was a big fan of the show. Really good show. Really funny show. And I saw some like the bloopers that they would do each season, and like everyone else is laughing. They show him, he's just like yelling for no reason. It's like, why are you yelling, dude?
Jesus, I don't get why. Like, how has he not been canceled? I mean, his history with SNL alone. I mean, he kept telling like female staff writers that he could like they could jerk him off later and things like that. Like, he has no respect for women. He makes random racist jokes. Like, he's just an asshole. And he has been since the 70s. Like, that's been his default setting since the beginning, is just asshole. But because he's so funny, I guess he gets a pass. I don't know.
I don't get it. Didn't he do like the like a not really apology recently, where he was like, yeah, I said what I said back then. Oh well, or some shit like that. Like, he had like this like really flippant remark about his behavior. I remember reading somewhere.
Probably. I know, like, I mean, his send off when he was doing Weekend Update on SNL was, I'm Chevy Chase and you're not. And yeah, that's pretty accurate. He had a talk show in the 90s called the Chevy Chase Show that like lasted like a week because nobody wanted to talk to him. Like everyone who came on, he was an asshole. He berated them. And they're like, we don't want to come on his fucking show. it's amazing. But yeah, I've been watching his movies since I was a kid. You know, the vacation movies I love. Caddyshack I love. And then, you know, Dan Aykroyd also has been, you know, I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. I love the Blues Brothers. And then John Candy, Great Outdoors, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Home Alone, Uncle Buck. They're all they're iconic 80s comedians. Their movies live forever. And you'd think bringing them all together like this would work. But, I mean, the fuck? This is the movie?
Yeah, I'm always like you said, I'm a fan of Chevy Chase's work, not him as a person. The dude has just great, like really sarcastic, like comedic timing. You have Dan Aykroyd, like you said, top of the board, fucking Ghostbusters, Blue Bros. Like the guy was funny. I really liked the joke they brought back in the new Ghostbusters with the "Are you gods?" and then Ray.
I love Aykroyd, like his random pop-ups in, you know, comedies in like the early 2000s, like Evolution, when he's the governor of Arizona who just shows up towards the end of the movie and is like, can somebody please explain to me why I've got goddamn aliens crawling over my state? Just completely like completely in the dark, like super pissed at the military. I love him. He's one of those guys who just pops up all the time.
Yeah. I don't much care for his fucking need to go down constant conspiracy routes and interviews, but he is a comedic genius.
That's true.
Yeah. And then John Candy. I've always loved John Candy. Like honestly, like that's just an RIP too soon when we lost him. That dude is so fucking funny. And he like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, him and Steve Martin, like, oh my God.
I love Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but I think my favorite John Candy movie is probably The Great Outdoors with Dan Aykroyd. And they're so funny together. It's such a simple premise. You know, family man goes up to the lake house with his wife and kids, and his obnoxious brother-in-law shows up unannounced and impedes on their vacation, and they just butt heads the whole time. It's so funny. There's a scene where John Candy eats a 96-ounce steak on like a dare. And
God.
The old 96er. And Dan Aykroyd's like helping him, like he's got his head up to his stomach, and he's like, all right, it's processing nicely. You're good. You can do this. It's so funny. If you've never seen The Great Outdoors, take a minute. It's quick. It's like an hour and a half. It is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
I've been meaning to watch that. I heard a lot of good things. I think I read a story where it was him and Belushi. Apparently, like these two, it was like one of the many, like, you know, people recounting interactions with celebrities. This one guy was in that time when him and a bunch of kids were just around, and I guess like Belushi and like John Candy happened to come out of their trailer or something. They were filming close by, and like apparently they got excited. They're like, "Oh my God, guys, it's Jim!" And apparently Jim Belushi was like, "Fuck off," and like to a bunch of kids, and then walked away. And John Candy just kind of looked at some of the kids and was like, popped out a fucking big ass cigar, just walked over and was like, "You kids want some autographs?" And like took the time to like sit there and sign autographs and take pictures with them and everything. So apparently, not only was he really funny, he was a stand-up fucking guy.
That's what I've heard. Everyone who worked with him had great things to say, and frankly, it's no surprise that Jim Belushi's a prick. That makes sense. But yeah, John Candy he was a gentle soul. People loved him. He was hilarious, and yeah, it was just, you know, way too soon. Such a shock. One of those guys that's missed every day. His films like are gonna last forever, you know.
Oh yeah, and then like you said, all the ones you said, they're just great. I mean, Uncle Buck. I think that was one of my introductions. That's before they went down their route. My parents both really liked that movie. They were like, "You haven't seen John Candy?" And they put on Uncle Buck, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's fucking hilarious."
Uncle Buck is a classic. I love when he's threatening the guy with the axe. He's like, "I got it right here. You want to come see it?" Not to kill, just to maim. Have you ever seen the movie Summer Rental?
No.
It was not very well received. It's got like a 17%, but I disagree with that. That movie's funny as hell. He's an overworked air traffic controller who nearly causes a plane crash. And his boss makes him take some vacation time. So he takes his family to the beach, and chaos ensues because they got like a shitty beach house. And there's a scene where their family's out for the day, and some lady walking past the house like breaks in so her kid can use the bathroom. And like people keep walking past the house being like, is this like a house party? And she's like, yeah, take what you need. Like, doesn't matter. And they come back and there's like a bunch of assholes in their house. And John Candy's already had a bad day. So he's flipping out on these people. And he's got he's got crutches because he like fell off a boat, hurt his leg. So he's like walking with crutches through the house, and he kicks everybody out, and he goes into his bedroom, and there's a dude like just watching the Smurfs in a red hat. And the guy John Candy's like, get the hell out of my house. And he's like, I'm watching the Smurfs. Go away. And Candy goes, oh yeah? Did you ever see the one where Papa Smurf takes a crutch and beats the shit out of a guy with a red hat? Get out of my house. Summer Rental is so funny. Rip Torn plays like an old pirate dude. It's great.
Jesus, Rip Torn. If there's anything of Rip Torn, I just think of the Jackass films and how they just kept getting him the fucking.
That's Rip Taylor. That's yeah.
I get Rip Torn, Rip Taylor.
It was weird though that he kept popping up with those.
It was weird, except the last one because it was on his passing. But
Rip Torn was Zed in Men in Black.
That's right.
Yeah,
I always get the rips confused.
Not a lot of rips in Hollywood. I get it. But yeah, these guys, look at their impeccable filmography for the most part, and then you just wonder like what went wrong with this.
This movie is a case of like the parts were there for it to be like essentially like a comedy team up, especially because at that point in '91, this you could argue was when like a lot of their heydays were kind of they're on the tail end of their various heydays from the '80s. Maybe not so John Candy, because I know he had like a lot of good stuff going on in the '90s until his passing. But Chevy Chase, a lot of his big hits are in the '80s. Dan Aykroyd, obviously, Ghostbusters stuff a lot. So you could tell like this could have been like a real big thing to maybe even rejuvenate a little bit and keep them going. And it was not. It was actually not. I don't know. I feel like there's probably like a pre Nothing But Trouble career for these guys, and then a post Nothing But Trouble career for these guys now.
This was kind of the nail in the coffin of the '80s, almost like for these guys.
Yeah, like well, I guess it's time to find a new comedy group, which did not get found until the early 2000s when Will Ferrell and Ben Stiller and them were starting to break out and become big hits.
Well, I mean, around I think like right after these guys, you had like the '90s SNL guys like Mike Myers and Chris Farley and
that's right, Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey.
They kind of took over almost.
Isn't that kind of funny to me with comedy? Like you always get like a pack of people that just kind of take over by storm.
Yeah, I think 100% you can throw SNL that credit. Because they kind of, it becomes like a breeding ground for young comics who become popular on television. They get movie deals, and they just get to kind of hone their craft.
Yeah, because think about we had the '80s with like Candy and Belushi and Aykroyd and Murray and all these guys, Chevy Chase, right? In the '90s, like you said, made way for things like Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler. A lot of those guys are going off of SNL in the '90s. Then early 2000s, then that's when you guys started seeing people like Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd and Seth Rogen. And you had that, essentially the ones that we grew up on, our childhood of comedic output people, which I still kind of miss that part of my childhood to this day. Because those were some good comedies that came out.
Yeah, I regret that it took, I didn't see American Pie till I was like graduated college. Like I didn't get to grow up with that. I'm sure that would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's a funny movie. One of my favorite scenes is when his dad comes home. The pie is just sitting on the table, messed up. So we're just going to tell your mom the dog got into it.
How do you parent that? I mean, like you come home, your son's dick's in a pie. What do you do?
Oh,
Good times.
good times. Well, that said, let's not go into such good times and talk about the development for this film. So the ideal for this film, believe it or not, was after producer Robert K. Weiss and then both the Aykroyd bros, Peter and Dan, decided to attend a screening of the big horror hit at the time, Hellraiser. Why would these three two, Aykroyd and fellow, comedic leaning people watching a horror film? Weiss had a fractured rib at the time, and he didn't want to hurt it anymore by laughing. So they said, let's just go watch a horror film.
I love that, but I would just leave him at home.
Yeah, I'm like, just stay home and watch a movie, man.
You're so fragile, laughing will hurt you. You probably shouldn't be going to the movies. That's funny, though.
Yeah, literally, they were like, well, I hurt my rib. I don't want to laugh. Let's go do a horror film. So they picked Hellraiser because that was a big hot film at the time in horror. So as they're watching it, they are noticing that the audience is laughing, which I have seen Hellraiser plenty of times. And I love Hellraiser. I don't know why audiences were laughing in 87 when this film came out.
Was there like a sadists only screening that the Aykroyds and Weiss somehow stumbled into? Because that's fucked up.
It's an audience just filled with people in like leather and bondage gear.
Just BDSM shit. They're just like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So once they noticed that, Rice, being a fucking Hollywood producer, immediately thought, hey, we should make a horror comedy since audiences like to both laugh and be scared at the exact same time. So that's how the idea came about. The story was partially based off a time Dan Aykroyd was pulled over for speeding and was invited to stay for tea with the judge, with the justice of the peace, after having to go through what he called as a kangaroo court.
My God, this actually happened to Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
That's bonkers. That is such abusive power.
Yeah, except he said apparently he had tea, only had to stay for a couple minutes, stayed for like a couple hours, had a great time, and then left. Nothing nefarious like in the movie.
That's still weird for a cop to take you to a judge over a speeding, and then the judge is like, you want to hang out? What the fuck? That doesn't sound kosher.
Probably not. I've never heard of that in my life.
Oh, that's wild.
Doesn't stop there how this was pieced together. So what you alluded to earlier, the dreams. So as that has to go with the bizarre characters and events, all of that was based off dreams Aykroyd was having at the time, which I don't know what the fuck he was on in the 80s to be having those types of dreams.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug. It was 80s. Yeah. Pretty much every 80s comedy you love came out of white powder. Like 100%.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. It's a vitamin to help you write better.
I had heard story when I was briefly worked in film over in Austin. One of the older guys talked about how like when you did films in the 80s, like someone would have like a tray of cocaine that they would walk around just offer to all the crew members.
I wish I was alive in the 80s. I would have had such a great time. Just nothing but, cocaine and giant hairdos and completely un-PC comedy. Just everyone was happy. I sincerely believe the 80s is the happiest decade of human history.
Yeah, after that, it kind of goes downhill.
The Cold War was pretty much over. Like, everybody was just like, video games, MTV, and like McDonald's cups were cool. Like, there was nothing else.
Yeah, it's probably why like 80s nostalgia is going into such a big swing. Everyone was like, just take us back to that place.
Yeah. When you could just, if you had a movie idea, somebody would just kind of give you the tray of Coke, let you rip one, and then say, pitch it to me.
As they're ripping Coke while you're pitching.
There was just a thin layer of white dust everywhere in America in the 1980s. It was just there. Everyone thought it was smog. It wasn't. It was Coke.
Coke. Copious amounts of Coke. Tony Montana would have been proud.
Oh, good. I wish.
Oh, now, God, now I'm starting. And I know in my head how the 80s would have been. God, what time to be alive? As for the town, if you're wondering why, the whole like explosions underground seems familiar. That the town was based off the real life Centralia, Pennsylvania, which I forget when that all went down. But for those who don't know, quick little crash course in history. There was a town in Pennsylvania known as Centralia that is completely abandoned now. You cannot live in it. It used to be a mining town, and an explosion happened underneath the mines. I forget how, but explosion happened, and because of the nature of like the mines and how this goes, they couldn't stop it. So literally, the explosions kept happening underneath the town.
Jesus.
And there's like the road can literally just fall in at any time. Like steam comes out from the ground. They had to get families out of there. There used to be a stretch of road that was graffitied, that people would graffiti for fun because it literally was like just a road in and out of town. Cops got all pissy and fucking stopped allowing it. But I don't know if it was just because they were annoyed or because like it's starting to get dangerous out there. But it's like the fire. That's it. There's a fire underneath the town to this very day.
And people have just abandoned any idea of trying to stop this or preserve the town or demolish a town. It's just an abandoned town that's on fire.
Yes.
That's terrifying. I love that. Why have there not been any horror movies set in this place besides this weird ass movie?
There's been stuff based off it, but nothing like, yeah, it's like some kind of explosion happened. There's been an ever raging fire underneath the town.
That is awesome. I'm going to remember that.
Yeah. And all they did was like told people like, hey, you got to get your families out of here. Like this isn't, the families stayed for a while. It wasn't like an immediate thing, but as the years went on and it got more dangerous to live there because of the fucking raging ass fire, more and more people started leaving to the point that it's no longer, you cannot live there.
You imagine living in some small Pennsylvania town, you get a knock on the door and it's a cop saying like, hey, you got to go. The town's on fire.
Yeah.
It's about to collapse. So you might want to grab your essentials and get out of here. Like it's a Wednesday. You're just like, oh shit, my life's over. All right.
Okay.
That's insane.
Yeah, I heard about it off some horror documentary I was watching. It was something I was watching where they were like visiting real life horrors, and that was one of the places they visited, and I got really, really interested in it. But yeah, for those interested in Centralia, Pennsylvania, I believe you can still, for years, you could just go into the town at your own risk. That was kind of like the deal. I don't know if that's the case anymore. Like I said, there's parts of it that are like very much monitored by police to keep people out because it's, as years went on, it's just kind of worse, obviously, right? I think like literally the fire cannot stop till the whole town caves in, and then they can be like, all right, let's put some water on that, let's patch things up. But I would have to relook what you can do now. I don't know how open the town is for visitor to just peruse, but if it is, just know if you are going to look into that town, you fucking do it at your own risk because it can literally cave in. You can like fall into the fucking fire. You walk wrong.
I wonder if, I know this is a morbid thought, but I wonder how popular that area is as a suicide destination.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, if you're going to go, jumping into a giant fire is a hell of a way to go.
It was a hell of a way to go.
Like, it's going to hurt, but you're going to be remembered. I don't know. I mean, it's not a crazy thought. I mean, there are places in this world that are popular with jumpers. And I imagine the giant Pennsylvania fire has got to be on that list.
But yeah, for those who want to visit or just, in the safety of the internet age we live in, look it up. Centralia, Pennsylvania. Insane story. Those pictures online if you want to look up the town, how it looks now. So, all right. Now, as for who would ultimately direct this film, we know who ultimately directed this film, but it wasn't the first choice, actually. So originally, this script was offered to none other than a Mr. John Hughes.
No.
Well, he turned it down because he only directed his own scripts, which you could say is pretentious, and it is. But this is also 91, so this is after the man's like literally built an entire almost like a genre of film for some people in the 80s. So like he had clout, you know what I mean? Like it's not like he's saying this. He had fucking 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, I was about to say Pretty in Pink, but actually it might be Pretty in Pink I'm thinking of.
That's his. Pretty in Pink is his.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I mean the guy, to his credit, he had the clout to be like, yeah, no, I only do my own scripts. Pretentious, yes, but he had that ability.
Pretentious, but also like that's what Quentin Tarantino does. That's what Paul Thomas Anderson does. So, and that's what the Coen brothers do. So, is it pretentious or is it just like I trust myself to see this story through the right way?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I was a screenwriter and a director, I would do exactly that all the time.
No, I totally get it. Like I said, if it had been like pre all that stuff, be like, that's a little kind of dickish. Like you haven't proven your worth. But I'm like, it's 91. Like this guy had some bona fide fucking hits under his belt to be like, yeah, no, I do my own scripts. Fuck off. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But but he wasn't the only director they offered. Next up, they asked John Landis direct. Again, 91, so pre the Twilight Zone.
No, this was significantly post.
It was post? I thought it was pre. By the way, they offered John Landis.
Yeah, that didn't hurt his career as much as it should have.
No, now I don't think he really directs a whole bunch anymore.
Oh no, well now eventually people were like, wait a minute, he got 3 people killed. Let's stop giving him work. But in the late 80s, like, Coming to America still happened. Like he was doing all right. And this actually is kind of right up his alley.
This is right up his alley.
Yeah, would have been interesting.
Yeah, but the reason he turned down was because he had an absolute dislike for the script. To their face told him, I hate this script. No.
That's great. I love that. To just tell Dan Aykroyd, like, yeah, we work together and you're good. Like, you're cool, Dan, but this is dog shit.
It's a dog shit script. I'm out.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, that's all right. As they're doing this, eventually the script will catch the attention of the studio that just can't get DC right. Warner Bros. Who liked it, and the only caveat was they wanted John Kane to star. That was the only thing. They're like, hey, we like it. Is there any way we can get John Kane to star in it?
I love the specificity of that. And no, they did not fucking love it. There's no way. They just thought Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, Great Outdoors was good. We'll make it like we're going to have another one. But I love it. They're like, this specific actor, can he be in this movie somehow? The studios just pull that shit all the time. Makes me laugh.
Oh yeah. They're like, we really like this one actor. Can we please put him in there?
Well, I mean, I guess Dan was cool with that because he's in it.
Yeah. Well, it now becomes a whole point of where Mr. Good old Dan Aykroyd here just kind of agrees to a lot of stuff. So obviously agrees to that John Kane's in the film, right? Now Aykroyd actually, as we know, if you've seen the film, he plays Judge Valkenheiser. He also won pull off a dual role and play the main character, Chris Thorne.
Somebody at Warner Brothers really wanted like an SNL reunion movie. They were like, we can make this work.
Yeah.
And John Candy's huge right now. Like, well, this will work. That's funny as hell. And yeah, Chevy Chase, him and Dan Aykroyd worked together on Spies Like Us, which I think is a pretty underrated comedy. But Chevy doesn't exactly have good chemistry with anybody because he goes out of his way to be an asshole.
Yeah. I just think it's funny that like the studio at every point was like, no, we're cool with that. But we have this other comedic actor that we really want to put in the film in mind. Like, at one point, it's like, who do you not want that isn't working in comedy right now in this damn movie, huh? You tell me, Warner Bros.
I feel like they didn't really want Dan Aykroyd. I mean, it is weird that he's like, I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm also going to be the hero. I also am going to be a big, weird baby. And I'm going to direct this thing.
Yeah, all the studios go, well, wait, let's at least take away the main character and give that to someone else.
It is funny that nobody objected to the fucking demon babies, which we'll talk about at length down the road.
Yes. But so far, again, Mr. Aykroyd here actually doesn't put up a fight. At the time, he was friends with Chevy Chase, so he agreed to go ahead and say, okay, yeah, I'm friends with him anyway. He also, at this point, even though he didn't want to do it, he was not interested in doing it. He finally would step in and direct the film because literally everyone else kept saying no.
I wonder if he went to Ivan Reitman.
I didn't see anything about him going to Ivan Reitman. So
I bet they had like a coffee or something, and Ivan was like, Dan, no, I'm not doing this.
And this is a bad movie.
I wonder how many friends told him like, this is not a good move. You got to shelve this thing, or at least have Carrie Fisher ghostwrite it or something. Do something with this. But this is horrible.
Do anything but this movie, please.
Sure, Dan was like, you're one of them, aren't you? Thinking like they're Men in Black or something. Anybody who said this is a bad movie, he's like, I knew it. You're part of this.
As he's sipping from his Christopher Skull vodka, what the fuck it is.
I'm just picturing him drinking from like an actual human skull full of vodka, just being like, you think I'm not crazy? You're crazy. Oh boy. You'd think all the roadblocks would have wised him up and made Dan think like, maybe this isn't a good idea.
No, he just kept pushing forward. And as you alluded to earlier, to the point that he also agreed to play the giant baby Bobo, which he did admit later proved extraordinarily stressful due to both playing two parts in heavy makeup while having to also direct and produce this film. And no shit was that probably stressful. You're trying to direct a film and then also have to do two different makeup trials for two different fucking characters.
I hope he directed in the baby costume a couple times at least, when he's like, all right, everybody, we're like in a super refined director's professional voice, dressed as a giant, weird, greasy baby. He's just like, we're going to have a good set today. Weather conditions are fine. Chevy, I love what you're doing. Just as a big baby. And nobody can take him seriously.
Oh, that would be great.
I want to foster a good environment for creativity, everybody. Like, we're going to do this together. Balkanvania on 3.
Guys, if we get through this, I got Crystal Skull vodka waiting for us. All right?
I like to picture he hired like a good chunk of the film's budget went to extra security to watch out for the Men in Black. And they had to wear like white suits so they didn't get confused.
He just counts them and whisper in his ear throughout the day.
There's a code word that's recycled every single day. And like the security dudes have to repeat it to Dan Aykroyd or else he thinks that they're part of the conspiracy. It's like, Dan, Daffodil. All right, you're good, Carl. Keep up the good work.
What if like one just wanted to fuck with them one day and starts running through the set yelling the code word that the men in black are there?
If you're telling me Dan Aykroyd does not have a gun, you're wrong. So he'd start shooting. I mean, this dude believes.
Yeah, look, let me know. I love Dan Aykroyd as a comedic talent, but if you're wondering why we're doing, look at this man and his beliefs and how strong he believes in this stuff. It's a little funny.
It's hard not to laugh at this, to make jokes about it, because the dude is so adamant that not only do aliens exist, but they're like after him specifically. Like the Men in Black have an interest in Dan Aykroyd for some reason.
Yeah. And the reason it's just so funny is because it's literally been to the point that it's eclipsed his later career. Because he won't talk about movie projects. He's like, I have to tell you about aliens. He's like, no, Dan, what are you doing film-wise, bro? No, that's not what's important. But aliens. Even his commercial, I watched his commercial for his fucking Crystal Skull vodka. He cannot help himself but start going down a fucking conspiracy route in that. It's so great.
That's hilarious. Yeah, he's, I don't know at what point in his career his priorities shifted from comedy movies to vodka and alien conspiracies, but I'm sure if we watched all of his films in a row, we could find the moment.
We could.
And I think it's around 91.
But you know what? To his credit, he still brings it every so often when he does pop up in a movie, like the new Ghostbusters. He brought it. I was very happy. So he still has it. It's just
still got it. Well, I mean, he went hard on Ghostbusters. He made sure all the technical terms were correct. So he's into some scientific shit. So maybe we should be listening to Dan Aykroyd. Maybe he uncovered the truth.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
And for the price of a bottle of Crystal Skull vodka, you can know the truth too.
I'm not gonna lie, as someone who likes vodka, I actually kind of want it just because of the container it's in. It's like it looks nice. The presentation is nice.
Yeah, well, looks great.
Yeah, but no, he's not so great and not so nice to people. And now we're going to talk about it because this is what's up next in my script. Chevy Chase. So during filming, unsurprisingly, for those who know anything about Chevy Chase's behind the scenes and shenanigans, he would be demeaning or verbally abrasive to various cast and crew members. For example, and now what I'm about to say, just remember that him and Dan Aykroyd are friends. And that's why Aykroyd agreed to let Chevy Chase in this film. Keep that in mind as I go forward. So first he told Demi Moore her costume was too revealing. Even though that's the whole fucking motivating factor for his character. And yelled at Aykroyd, saying he was worth more than him because his paycheck was higher, despite Aykroyd being the director.
Jesus. I hate to see how Chase treats his enemies. Wow.
Yeah. Man, if I ever had any of you say that to me, I'd be like, well, we're not friends anymore. Fuck off. Like,
I can't believe, I wonder how many people are have Chevy Chase as the dickhead friend. I feel like that's all he is to people.
Yeah, I used to think because you see it especially a lot of 80s horror films, a dickhead friend. I'm watching who the fuck would have that in their friend group? I'd kick you out immediately. Apparently, it was because that was an actual thing, and Jeffrey Chase personifies that, where he was probably just a dickhead friend in every social setting.
It's amazing to me that in a almost, I think, 50-year career, he never had that moment of clarity, moment of oh, I've been such an asshole. He never got visited by three ghosts. It's just been dick his entire career. He has never tried to lessen it, tried to be better, apologize. He's just I'm Chevy Chase and fuck you. Since day one of SNL, that's been him.
I'm Chevy Chase, one of the greatest comedians that's ever lived on this planet. Go fuck yourself.
Cornelius Crane Chase. Why do we keep laughing? That's his real name, by the way.
Oh my god. He has good delivery, I won't lie.
Yeah. I feel like his movies are funny because of the people around him. Like, he's never been like a couple times in the 80s, but overall, I feel like he's not as amazing as he seems to think he is.
I mean, it's not as amazing, but he is funny. Like, I like a lot of his comedies.
I do too. But I don't think he's the funniest guy in the room in those movies. Like Caddyshack, for instance. I think he's outshined by Rodney Dangerfield and Bill Murray substantially. Vacation movies. I think Randy Quaid jokes circles around him.
Oh, yeah. Is the one that played his fucking brother-in-law or whatever.
Cousin Eddie. Yeah.
Cousin Eddie.
Yeah.
Had to clean out the shitter.
You checked our shitters, honey? Love that. Merry Christmas. Shitter was full. Great movie. But yeah, I don't know. The more I watch him, the more I just keep thinking about all the abrasive shit he does to people. It's hard to like just anything he does.
Yeah. I mean, I still like what he does. Like I said, I like when he was on Community. I liked Community. He was not the person I laughed at the most. That actually slowly went to Don Glover and the guy who played Abed. Those two were hilarious. Joe McHale, who's fucking comedy gold in my opinion, that not enough people talk about. They were the funny ones. His character is okay. I do remember when I talked about earlier when the bloopers are him just yelling. It's also like if you in some of the scenes when he yells, you can kind of hear in like the crew member's voice how tired they are. So it's like one where he yells something, you can show the crew member in the background, like the creators of the show or the director be like, "Yes, Chevy." Like you can just hear the annoyance in his voice already. Like until he just really wants to like shut the fuck up and do the goddamn scene and stop yelling.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But I mean, to treat your friend like that, to be like, I make more than you, so I'm worth more than you, so don't tell me what to fucking do. Why are you here?
Yeah, because you're not even like I'm gonna say he wasn't that funny in the fucking movie.
He clearly doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I remember watching this going, you're not that funny in this movie, man. Like usually I'm dying at your fucking, quick little try delivery, but fuck me, you're boring.
Well, I was reading in the trivia that like he also did not like the script, but he wanted to work with Dan Aykroyd again. So like he didn't even care about the movie. The whole reason he's here is so he could work with Dan Aykroyd again, and he's just screaming at him the whole time. I can't imagine.
Yeah. Remember, friends somehow. Oh, God, fucking Chevy Chase. Well, so it would not end here though for some of the film's woes. So originally, for those if you have seen this film, you're probably thinking, why did they pick this date to release it? I don't know. It was originally slated for a December 1990 release. Okay. Why December for a film that could very well have probably played very, very well in like October timeframe? But they picked December 1990. I'm not a fucking studio. Look, yeah, this is Hollywood. They wanted to play Hocus Pocus in fucking summer. And then they didn't think anything of it. Like, oh yeah, Hocus Pocus in summer. People are going to want to go see that in the summertime. Fucking morons. The film would get delayed though, due to the studio recutting the film to a PG-13 rating, removing a bunch of the over-the-top violence, and changing the title.
Well, what was the title?
Vulcanvania.
Oh.
They changed it to Nothing But Trouble.
The studio just think like Vulcanvania is not a real word. People aren't going to know what this means. It's like, well, watch the movie.
Yeah. Aykroyd has referred to it only as Vulcanvania in interviews. So, he believes.
That must be confusing. I wonder if on the press tour, he just keeps talking about this new movie he's doing called Vulcanvania, and the poster behind him says nothing but trouble. That's going to confuse the shit out of people.
You don't tell Dan Aykroyd that he's wrong, okay?
Oh boy. And I think that this being a hard R, super violent movie, I think that might have saved it.
Yeah, because it was, again, they were, as I said, they were wanting to make a horror comedy or a dark comedy or whatever, so it would have played a lot better had it just been rated, or had you allowed Chevy Chase to go in and just cuss. So I keep cutting out scenes. It was clear that he was getting ready to fucking go at it.
Yeah, weird. That's what you would do with this movie. It's almost like the studio had no faith in this from the beginning. They just didn't want to tell Dan Aykroyd no.
Someone's like, if we tell him no, we gotta listen about why aliens and Men in Black are real. Just fucking let him do what he wants. We'll deal with it later.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're ever contacted by alien beings, especially after 9/11. It's a real thing he said on CNN.
And yet he was quiet when the government admitted that aliens existed. It still bugs me to say that the government fully came forth and was like, yeah, we don't look, guys. So some of it is us testing new equipment. Some of it is other countries testing it. And I think it was a big number. They were like, yeah, they were whopping 90% we're not accounting for. Yeah, we don't know. And I'm like, holy shit, they just admitted, and all these crazy UFOologists people quiet. I'm like,
I think they're thinking like the government would never tell us the real number. Like this is a cover up to cover what the government really knows about aliens. Yeah, I guarantee you that's what happened.
Probably. I'm just like, fuck you guys. Fuck all of you. All you people like Dan Aykroyd. You finally get told by the government themselves. They're like, look, for transparency, UFOs exist. We can't account for most of this shit flying out there. And then we just went, okay, sure.
One day we're going to have first contact with an alien race. They're going to land somewhere on the planet. The ship door is going to open, and it's going to be an entire race of fuckers that look like Bobo. Because Dan Aykroyd was not having dreams. He was getting alien information beamed into his head when he was asleep. And this was the only time that the truth leaked into like actual filmmaking. That's going to happen. And their leader's going to look like the fucking judge.
That's horrifying.
Ridiculous.
Well, this delay would move the film 2 months past the schedule, so it would release in February 1991. And as we said at the beginning, right, it would become a huge bomb and become critically reviled. Chevy Chase himself has later expressed dislike for the film, saying that he only did it because of his friendship with Aykroyd. Again, a friendship that apparently involves you yelling and berating your own fucking friend.
Bill Murray 100% said no. I don't think there was a formal offering, but I bet he had lunch with Dan and he was like, absolutely not.
Dan, I love you. Love what we did with Ghostbusters. I ain't doing this.
Harold Ramis said no. Jim Belushi I bet said no. Chevy probably has difficulty getting work, I would imagine. So he's like, all right, I'll take it, but I'm not going to enjoy it. Because remember, I'm worth way more than you, Dan. And I'll see you at the barbecue, bestie. I don't know. Maybe there's two. Maybe Chevy Chase is like bipolar.
Yeah, well, I feel like he's just like yelling at him and after that, he's like, so you still coming over Saturday? Barbecue, game. What's down for that?
Reminds me in The Big Lebowski when dude's on the phone with Walter and he's like, what? There is an unspoken message here. It's fuck you. Leave me the fuck alone. And he's like, yeah, I'll be at practice. That's their relationship.
Goes on one side and then like, yeah, I'll be there. Don't worry.
Of course I've got the potato salad, you know. You know how we do it. I don't understand. I could never maintain a friendship with somebody like Chevy Chase. I could never. No. The second, I don't surround myself with assholes. I don't have the asshole friend because like, why would you want it? Why would you want that in your life?
I don't know. Because even like when I'm being quote unquote an asshole, I'm doing it in a joking way. I'm not trying to mean you. I'm just having fun.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not yelling at you. I'm like, well, let me go at Connor to see how he reacts to me fucking berating him at the top of my voice.
Just get a text like, you're worth nothing. See you Friday. Yeah, I'd have to throw some questions like, hey, what do you think this means? Shit got real.
There's a part of me now that just wants to one day send you that text. Just, I'm worth more than you. Also, see you on Sunday, buddy.
I'm getting mixed messages. That's crazy. This is Dan's reality. He had to deal with that. Like, this is my buddy telling me I'm worthless.
I think some guys came up like, "You really want to take that from him? It's just our thing, man. It's part of our friendship."
He's just like, "Oh, Chevy, what a kidder." Everyone's like looking real worried because he just had like a super, super real meltdown. And Dan's just like, he's always doing this.
He's such a kidder. He goes to his trailer and he starts crying.
Throws him some finger guns, like, and you just hear like very loud, just like weeping from Dan's trailer. Bill Murray comes out of the crowd. They didn't even know he was there. He's like, I got this. Don't worry. I got this. He's just following Dan around whenever Chevy's there.
Is that why Bill Murray just pops up and stuff? He's just keeping an eye on Dan.
Yeah.
You talking about the Men in Black again? All right. Everyone's coming up. I got this.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Murray is an uncredited extra in so many movies because he just wanders around. Like, I bet you could play like a Where's Waldo, just looking for Bill Murray in random movies, and I bet you'd find him.
Always there.
Yeah. Good stuff.
God. All right. Well, that's all I have for development. So if there's nothing else, we'll just move on to awards. God, I saw it in my head, just like just the crying in the trailer. And you ready to shoot? Just give me a second.
He's putting on the baby costume. He's like, I'll be all right. We got to shoot. We're running out of daylight.
Comes out, Dan, you get her. Nah, let's shoot the next scene, you jokester.
Oh, that's funny. I read that somebody in the crew threatened to drop a brick on Chevy Chase's head if he ever talked to Dan Aykroyd like that again.
What the fuck?
Yeah, because he he trash talked the director in front of everybody, and the crew's like, "You ever do that again, I'm gonna kill you with a brick."
Jesus Christ!
I wonder what Chevy said to that. And I bet you that was Bill Murray, like wearing a hat or something.
Do it, Chevy. Don't tempt me.
And they had a fight in an SNL that I think Belushi had to break up. John Belushi. Like, Bill Murray and Chevy Chase hate each other.
Oh, really? I didn't know that, actually.
Oh, yeah. They got in a fist fight on SNL, like right before curtain was going up. And John Belushi had to be like, we're working. I'm like, don't save it. It got rough.
Holy
and then they
shit.
just snapped out of it and went and did sketches.
I can kind of see that, because I've heard pretty good things about Bill Murray. Like, I don't hear a lot of complaints about him on
There's some
set.
weird random stories where he like got really drunk and like yelled at Richard Dreyfuss, but like overall, I'd rather hang out with Bill Murray than Chevy Chase.
Yeah, it's probably a lot more fun.
I love his weird ass interactions with people. Like I remember reading this one story where these guys were at a bar and somebody reached over and grabbed some of their fries and looked up and it was Bill Murray. And he told them like, no one will ever believe you, and then walked away. He does that to people all the time, just fucks with them because he knows like no one's gonna buy it. Oh yeah, Bill Murray took your fries, sure.
Yeah. Okay, likely story, but you were late because Bill Murray ran into your car. Okay.
But then, like, there was this one story on the set of what was the film? I don't think it was Lost in Translation. It was a drama though, where like some assistant director told him to like, we got to hurry. So like, you need to be on the set at this time. And and Bill Murray just like grabbed this dude and flipped him onto a table and said like, you don't tell me when to work. I tell me when to work.
Jesus Christ.
They might all be assholes. And I think that's a safe bet.
Probably safe bet. There was the whole thing where he like told Lucy Liu he doesn't think she can act.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, and they respond by firing him from the sequel, which is fucking. If anything, if I was Lucy Liu, like I'd be like, I'd hold that over and be like, you tried telling me something, and your ass got fired, and you're fucking Bill Murray.
I know on the set of What About Bob, he got really drunk and he screamed at Richard Dreyfuss something like, "No one here likes you." So great. Some really personal shit. So he's got a dark side. They got demons, these guys.
That's usually how it is with comedians. They use the humor to mask the demons.
Oh yeah. And Chevy Chase just lets them all hang out.
No, Chevy Chase, he's just an asshole, I think. I don't think there's no demon hiding. I think he's just a prick.
The demon tried, and he's like, God, this douche. And he just left. I can't deal with this guy.
I'm out of here.
I would love, that'd be a great movie. A demon tries to possess a guy, but the guy is such an asshole, the demon can't do anything about it. He can't get through. I'm gonna
all right.
Yeah, let's give awards.
Speaking of pretentious assholes, let's talk about our first one, Zack Snyder. Thank
you. I had a couple of scenes down for this. The hot dog dinner always skeeves me out. It's just so gross. But nothing beats the random hip hop scene we get at the end of the movie.
Holy shit. Oh, wow. We both picked the same fucking thing.
Because it's so terrible and unnecessary. It's out of nowhere. Yeah. A hip hop troupe gets pulled over and the judge has he jams with them and he's like, "You're free to go."
Yeah, it's like really out of character of what we just watched the judge do.
Yeah. Like Tupac's there. It's weird. And it's a catchy tune too, but it's like, weren't we just in Murderville? Like what happened now? Now we're making music. The tone of this thing is all over the fucking place.
Oh yeah, no, it's funny because like I said, I actually had a bunch of scenes written down myself, and I had the dinner scene written down as well because I was like, this is such a weird scene. But I was like, as soon as this scene played, I'm like, this is the scene because it's like it's just left field, like, and it has to do with kind of what I'll talk more about when it comes to my first filmmaking decision. But it's just like so the tone is so all over the place in this movie, and then like. And the 90s was like, so if like, we always made a joke about like, the early 2000s, like rock or metal music being played at the end of a horror film period, which look, say what you will about that period. I'm a sucker for how cheesy that was. There was something we said about the 90s need to put a fucking rap song randomly into so many fucking movies.
Absolutely. There are so many random shitty rap songs at the end of 90s movies. I mean, Run DMC did one for Ghostbusters 2. There's one at the end of fucking Dunstan Checks In, that Monkey Hotel movie that I have a soft spot for. It is all over the place. It was such a weird thing.
Yeah, it's like, and that's why I say like, it's like the rap had its time with that. And then next thing you know, it was Okay, we've done that now. So let's do metal songs and horror films at the end of the credits.
Didn't Vanilla Ice do a rap song for a Ninja Turtles movie?
Yeah, he did. The second one.
Oh,
The
remember
Secret
that?
of Use.
Remember that brief blip where Vanilla Ice was like the hottest shit on earth?
Yeah, he was Ice Ice Baby.
But it was that he got a movie, Cool as Ice. He was doing Ninja Turtle songs. Now he's doing like a home repair TV show where like Vanilla Ice can be the guy building your house, which doesn't sound like the best construction job you could get.
No, I remember that scene in Ninja Turtles. It's like they get the ooze and they're like running through town and they just bust through a random Vanilla Ice show and they start like dancing on the stage with them. Look, I actually really love The Secret of the Ooze. I'm gonna say that right now. And they just start dancing and like rapping the song. And they have to make the bad guys come in, but it's just the whole movie just stops for a quick second to give way for this song.
That happens though sometimes. Like, it's weird when like the movie just stops for a like extended celebrity cameo. Like, you remember? Have you seen The Cat in the Hat?
Yeah.
Remember when they just burst into a random like underground nightclub and the cat starts dancing like sexually aggressively with Paris Hilton?
Oh yeah.
In this fucking G-rated kids movie.
It's such a fucking weird movie.
I know. I can't wait to do it here. I can't wait. But yeah, it's weird that when that happens.
I remember being a kid and thinking it was like super fucking funny because I really liked Mike Myers.
Same. I forgave a lot of dumb shit because I was a big Mike Myers fan. It'd be nice to watch that film with a clear head and be like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah, right. I still like the Austin Powers movies. Those still hold up.
Oh yeah, those are great. Shrek's great. Wayne's World's great. Everything else in between though.
just somebody go in there with a gun and blast them. You just don't get it, Scott. You just don't get it.
I haven't sat down and watched those in a long time. That would be a fun just binge.
Yeah, I should name him Mini Me.
Did you see the Super Bowl commercial he did as Dr. Evil with Rob Lowe, Mindy Sterling, and Seth Green?
Yeah, and all I could think was like, so was this Austin Powers? What you keep talking about here, bud? If you're,
there's no way he could do Austin Powers 4 and still look like he could be a womanizing secret agent. He bloated up a lot, and he looks rough.
Yeah, but they could make fun of the later years of Roger Moore's Bond with that.
They could, they could. That would be interesting direction.
It would be.
Maybe he's got, they could obviously explore the, he's got a kid angle.
Yeah. So at the part when like he finally accepts Scott, come sit with your father, Scott. And Minnie's still sitting there. This is awkward.
I love when he says, okay, it's crowded in here, everybody out, and then tells everybody, not you, not you, not you. And he just looks at Minnie like, why are you still here?
Yeah.
Those are great movies. I don't care what anyone says. Those are all three are hilarious.
Oh no, they make me, and yeah, I know, like, I would say a lot of people really shit on Goldmember, but I'm like, they're all three funny in their own way. I fucking laugh at all three of them.
Yeah. I love when Michael Caine and Mike Myers are having a Cockney like slang discussion and just saying nothing. That's a great scene.
Fucking, I eat because I'm fat. I'm eating because I'm depressed. And I'm depressed because I eat. It's a vicious cycle.
Fat bastard. What a weird character. We're getting way off track.
Get in my belly. Okay. Sorry, I like those movies. So
me too.
But
best scene, we both had the weird rap interlude.
Yes, worst scene, not best. Let's not confuse this.
Sorry. I have multiple podcasts. Worst scene.
Don't put this film with Oscar Sunday. Jesus Christ.
No, not even the same. It's barely the same species.
Yeah, we're seeing when the movie pauses for a not even the best fucking Tupac rap song there is. If you want better, if you want Tupac to rap, just check out any fucking greatest hits album of his solo career. You won't be disappointed.
And it's just it's Dan Aykroyd breaking out the piano and being like ba, 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 and like giving this like rocking voice. It's like all of a sudden he's trying to throw Blues Brothers into this thing.
Yeah, it's look, if you really want some Tupac, check out the song he did with Snoop Dogg, America's Most Wanted. Great song. With that said, now I really want to listen to good Tupac. Let's move on to the Ed Wood, the worst line, which actually I had quite a hard time on this one.
I did too. The dialogue isn't, I mean, it's stupid, but it's not like, so horrendous that there's standouts.
Yeah, there wasn't like, any moment where I went, why did we have an issue with Sander in this time period? Like Tomb Raider. Didn't have that moment.
Yeah. What was that line? Daniel Craig, up the demon's ass. Yeah. Good times.
Saying, man. Apparently it was like everyone had a thing against Sand in the early 2000s.
For my worst line, I went with something said by Fausto. Weird that, his Chevy Chase's weird, like Brazilianaire friends who just disappear halfway through the movie and never talked about again until they just are at some island with John Candy.
Yeah.
And it's during the dinner scene. Fausto stands up and says, in a very thick Hispanic accent, I will not replicate, "You people are sick, wicked, funky, misanthropic, codependent animals, and I won't have my sister, who was once the queen of the Mardi Gras, sitting at a table with a pickle shooting train." It's such a weird insult, and it's a weird direction to go in. It's like everything else has been cool, but you start throwing pickles at your girl all of a sudden, or your sister. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? And I did not like those characters either. They invite themselves on this trip. They contribute nothing. It's their fault they're in this mess, and then they just disappear.
Their characters are the absolute worst.
It's ridiculous. So that's what
that's a good one. It took me I was literally saying like, what the fuck am I gonna put? Because there's no line that stood out for me. But I was willing to pick another Fausto's line because I just really hated this character quite a bit. I'm like, God, this character's stupid. And it's when they are trapped initially, they go through the floor and they're in the underground prison, whatever you want to call it. And he just randomly yells at Chevy Chase, "You're no longer our financial advisor. You're fired." I was just like, why does that matter right now? Like, I don't think that's priority. They're big guy. And if it was meant to be like a joke, it's a joke that falls incredibly flat.
Yeah, 100%. That whole character, like the comic relief angle for that character and the sister, none of it works. They're just annoying.
Yeah, they're annoying.
And pretty offensive as well.
Yeah. They're annoying, and like none of their jokes really land. I can't think of a single time I laughed at any other jokes.
I laughed exactly one time in this movie, and it was at the beginning when Chevy and Demi Moore meet in the elevator, and she like hands him a bunch of stuff and leaves, and he yells out, "Thanks for the espresso maker and the bag of shit." That made me laugh, but that was it.
I laughed a little bit when like she comes out of the elevator and he's like, "Give me the keys. Give me the keys."
Fair enough. Good stuff.
Yeah. With that said, next up, Steven Seagal, worst performance. I felt like this one was not necessarily as hard. There's a lot of options for me. I know that. So
yeah, anyone could take this, but to me, the king of not trying that hard is Chevy Chase. Say what you want about Dan Aykroyd, he commits. It's a stupid it's a stupid character, it's a stupid script, but he does perform. Chevy looks like he's got the script like written on his hand, and he's just reading it the whole time. There is no emotion, no commitment. He doesn't give a fuck, and he's just going through the motions. So had to give the Chevy Chase.
That's fair. Like I said, a lot of people write this is a huge comedic talent for a lot of people, and he is like just so clearly bored and not wanting to be there. It's almost painful to watch.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
For me, I actually did go Dan Aykroyd for mine. I'm with you. Like, yeah, he is trying, but dear God, neither character he plays is remotely funny in the slightest.
I agree with you, and it's both his characters are just fucking gross.
Yeah, I don't even know half. I can't tell you half of what came out of Bobo's mouth, and none of it was English. I think it's. I was like, am I supposed to be laughing at this character or what? Like, I don't know. And also at that point, I was like so like tuned out. At this point, I was sitting there going, please end, just let this movie in already.
Yeah, I get it. Dan Aykroyd's a lot in this movie. He very much is like, look at me, look what I can do the whole time, and it's gross. The judge is just nasty. Bobo and Lil Devil, his brother, is. I'll wait.
Okay. With that, let's move on to the Michael Bay first filmmaking decision, where I feel like I now have a good idea of what's coming up with yours.
Yeah, it's the giant fucking man babies that just appear in this movie with no explanation, and they're just like there. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's uncomfortable, and I don't understand it. Like, why are they here? How are they? Like, what are they? They're clearly not human. It's so weird, and that Dan Aykroyd would just commit to that. He's like, I need the big baby. Like, they need to be in this movie
because of my dream, guys.
Oh, it's gross, and they're stupid, and Demi Moore treating them like, blah, 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 blah. It's so weird. I couldn't. I almost was like, I'm just gonna end it here and just make do with what I've seen thus far. But I was like, no, I can't do that. I wanted to so bad.
A lot of the whole like the end of this film just starts introducing shit that makes no sense. Like how like apparently the state is completely in on it. I think I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What do you mean all these people are in on it? When they're like, hey, judge.
Yeah, that was odd. Everyone just like, he gets results. Like, no, he's murdering speeders.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when he's like on the news, he's like, I'm going to go stay with my grandson-in-law. It's like, there's no way that marriage is legally binding. That was under duress. Not a chance. But that Chevy Chase like jumped through the wall Looney Tunes style. It's like, are there laws of physics in this movie or not?
Yeah, again, complete left like new type of comedy there with the whole like you can even hear him in the background go, no, you're not. And then like they do the sound effect as he's like bursting through the wall.
Yeah, but nothing beats those giant ass weird human Cabbage Patch doll looking fucks. That's too much.
Those are the stuff of nightmares right there.
That was the line for me. That was the line. That when I'm like, all right, there, any redeemable qualities this film had go right out the window, right there.
Yeah. For me, I went a little bit more just outside the box on mine. And now knowing what we know about how they got made, I put not fully embracing this being a actual horror comedy and it getting recut to PG-13.
Yeah, 100%. That killed this thing.
Yeah, like I get like, look, I'm not the biggest fan of dark comedies. Like they can be good, but sometimes I'm like, just make it a fucking comedy. Like just comedy. I am a fan though of horror comedies. I quite enjoy them. And if you're making a film, which Aykroyd even said was like Chainsaw Massacre was one of the influences here. was one of the things they were homaging. So I'm like, you're already saying you're, looking at some horror films. You did this because of the audience reaction to Hellraiser. Just make an actual fucking horror comedy. Like, with all that comedy talent, can you imagine the type of horror comedy we would have gotten out of it?
I like to think that there's a dimension out there where this is regarded as one of the greatest horror comedies of all time because everyone involved, including the producers, went for it.
Yeah. I mean, look, the last time we got something where a horror comedy worked as well as it did, made by comedians, to me, was Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
None of those guys really do horror, but they fully committed to what they wanted to do. And look at how fucking good that film is.
Yeah, good shout. 100%. Yeah, that's what can happen when I guess, maybe Mel Brooks fought harder for his vision than Dan Aykroyd did, or Dan Aykroyd's vision was clouded by whatever the fuck made him imagine this.
I feel like with Mel Brooks, he probably had a more clear vision. And also, I don't think Gene Wilder was on set berating him. From what I've understood, Gene Wilder was a delight to have on set.
Well, they had one big argument, but they apologized and worked it out as friends.
Look at that. Like friends do, they worked it out. So
well, Brooks called Wilder like right after the argument and said, like, what was going on in your apartment? All that shouting. That man was crazy. Talking about himself. Like that was his apology.
Yeah. So see, that's probably why that film turned out the way it did.
Chevy's apology was fuck you, I'm worth more.
Yeah. And also Young Frankenstein had a Marty Feldman who was
everyone in that movie delivered. Marty Feldman's great. Madeline Kahn is hilarious. Terry Garr is great.
Come to your hump. What hump?
One of my favorite little moments is at the beginning when Frederick's talking to his fiance, and he's like, I'll miss you during this trip. And she's like, oh, don't touch me. Don't touch my hair. It's just been set. And like, he blows her a kiss and she like ducks to avoid it. Oh, she was a genius.
You must be Eyzaguirre. No, it's Igor. But isn't it pronounced Eyzaguirre? Nope.
Oh, what a great movie.
But
yeah.
Whose brain did you get? Abby Normal? You got an abnormal brain put into this giant of a man.
I'm going to go in this room, and whatever you hear, do not open this door. I may beg you. I will scream. Do not open this door. He's immediately locked in. It gets up. Let me out. Get me out of here right now. I was joking. Don't you know a joke when you hear one? Mommy. Oh, what a masterpiece.
Werewolf.
Their castle.
Castle. Could be worse. Could be raining.
Anytime I can talk Young Frankenstein is a good time.
Yeah. It's hard for me to not start quoting that film. So good.
It's infectious. Amazing.
Ah, God. On that note, let's continue the happy train and try to discuss silver linings in relation to this film, which was really fucking hard for me. So start with you. What was your silver lining? The one positive you have?
I could find nothing in this movie that was positive. So I had to get a little meta. And my silver lining is that Dan Aykroyd never directed another movie. I mean, if this is what we got, maybe it's a good thing he stayed away from going behind the camera.
Yeah, he focused on his Crystal Skull vodka and me staying aloof of the Men in Black instead.
Fleeting cameos have worked. I don't think he's written a lot since Ghostbusters 2 and this. So maybe, I don't want to, shit on Dan Aykroyd too much, but I mean, maybe it's not meant to be for him to be one of comedy's greatest directors.
No, it's not. For me, I had a real tough time. And I ultimately went with the inclusion of John Candy. Not his funniest role by a long shot, but he's always a welcome presence for me. It's just there's always something about him. I like seeing him in a movie. There's a very warm presence about him. So no, not the funniest role he's done. I don't think I laughed at once at any joke he made, if he did any, because he kind of played this one a little more straight. But just because it's Sean Candy and just because I like him, it was nice to see him.
I did chuckle at the when he pulls over the Baldwin, and he's like, "You got to blow for it," and he's like, "Blow you? I don't think so." And the girlfriend's like, "I'll blow him," and he's like, "Maybe later, next century." Like he's so stalwart in justice. It's like
yeah. It looked like when he pulled the gun out on the guy. When the guy tried to shoot him, he just pulls the fucking gun out.
Yeah. I did like the character. I thought it was weird that he also played like the granddaughter who was mute. That was an odd choice.
Yeah. So that's why I say like it's really weird because you think like, especially it being Aykroyd, like, hey, you got John Candy in your movie, like fucking use him. Like we at this point he's established like how fucking hilarious he is on camera. Like why wouldn't you fucking take advantage of that? Especially with him playing a dual role. He would have fucking chewed it up had you just given him something to work with.
Yeah. I think that it would have been interesting to see. I think he played the wrong character. I think Dan Aykroyd should have played that character, and Candy should have played the judge.
Oh my god.
I think it would have been a lot crazier and like a little bit scarier.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
But yeah, so that's our silver linings. And we're gonna move on to our next segment of what's in the box.
What's in the fucking box? Give me the gun.
So on this segment, we go through the movie social media website, letterboxd.com, where every film known to man is reviewed by people all over the world. And I find several reviews of these movies to try and make Caleb laugh. And I have, I believe, 5 pretty good ones. This movie has a weird reverence behind it. It's considered a cult classic by a lot of people. I don't get it. I don't see how you can sit through this thing and be like, that was great. I can't wait to watch it again.
Give me more.
This is the second and last time I will ever be watching this movie. It's sitting at a 2.4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, which is pretty low, but still not the lowest we've gone on this show, which is kind of amazing. I think Batman and Robin still holds that.
Even that, I was like a 1 point something.
Yeah, it was 1.9, I believe.
Okay, yeah. So
Batman and Robin is a much better movie than this piece of shit. I'll say that.
I'm really surprised like the pyramid wasn't one of the ones that was really low because I really did not enjoy sitting through the pyramid. Cannot express that enough.
Here are 5 reviews of Nothing But Trouble. Number 1, this is from Joe. Dan Aykroyd is a dangerously insane human being. 3 stars. I think I'll second that.
I'll third that.
Thanks, Joe. Very accurate. Yeah, he's knucking futz, but he's also very funny. So I'll forgive it.
I think most of the world forgives it. He may be nuts, but he isn't problematic and he's funny, so we just kind of let it slide. We're like, all right, whatever.
He's like the village conspiracy nut. He's not dangerous, but he's crazy.
Yeah.
Number 2, this is from Bill Ryan. I respect it, but it's dog shit. 1 star.
Respect it, but it's dog shit.
I agree with half of that. It is dog shit, but I don't respect it. Number 3, this is from Evil Parsley. I wish Dan Aykroyd directed more movies. This movie is like if Tim Burton directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre. 3.5 stars.
Jesus Christ. First off, I don't want a Tim Burton version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Keep that the fuck out of my brain.
I think I think that's pretty on the money though. If he did do that, it would look like this.
It would, and it would be just as terrible.
Yeah. Number 4. What in the hell? No one ever told me there was a Dan Aykroyd House of 1,000 Corpses.
I like that.
3 stars.
An Aykroyd House of 1,000 Corpses. I like that.
I'd love to know if Rob Zombie saw this like around the time he started writing House of 1,000 Corpses.
I'm sure. I don't know if he saw it around the time, but I'm sure he's seen it.
And number 5.
Kind of timely too, because he has a new Monsters film that's supposed to be coming out.
That's right. Yeah, which I'm looking forward to talking about on Sneak Preview this year sometime.
Yeah,
probably around Halloween, I would imagine.
I'm assuming. The last thing I heard, obviously that has been rated, so it is coming out this year. At some points, it's been rated. But Dee Wallace is confirmed to be in the movie.
Is she playing like Grandma Munster or something?
She's playing some like talk show personality that's going to be in the movie.
Okay, I don't know that much about the Munsters. I just know Dad looks like a Frankenstein, kid looks like a werewolf, wife looks like a vampire lady, I think, and then Grandpa's a vampire.
Yep. Wife's going to look like Sherry Moon Zombie in the movie.
Okay.
Because the Sherry Moon Zombie.
Of course. Number 5, this is from JHF, my personal favorite. Capping off a 12 hours and 2 hits of acid 4th of July weekend, the only way I could think of, gathering some of my best friends around a television and making them watch Nothing But Trouble for the first time ever. I fucking dare you to find a friend better than me. 5 stars.
God. They down the gauntlet. Fuck me.
You just been tripping for 2 days. And you're like, I'm watching Nothing But Trouble, and my friends can go fuck themselves if they don't like it.
You know what? That is my friend. He sounds like my kind of dude. Look, man, I'm tripping. All right. I've been on a complete fucking trip for the past weekend. I'm putting this movie on. If you don't like it, there's the goddamn door.
Happy 4th of fucking July. Beautiful. I love crazy people. They keep the world interesting.
As long as they're not doing anything, harm anyone, they keep the world very interesting. And usually give us greatness in, various shows like Ridiculousness and World's Dumbest and stuff. Like, thank you to those people for being able to give us those kind of shows.
I do have a 6th I found that I was going to leave out, but it's brief and I might as well. And it just made me laugh. It was everyone who doesn't like this movie is a cunt. 5 stars. Yeah, I was like, should I? And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go for it. So there's another one for you.
I mean, you can believe what you want to believe. But now I guess you know what to think of me because I don't like this movie.
Yeah, I don't know if I said it before we started recording or during. I don't know. But I'll say it again. This has dethroned Showgirls for me as the worst movie we've covered on this show.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for one that beats The Pyramid.
Yeah.
But, it's young. I still have to do the back half of the year schedule. And I've definitely been saving October for some solid horror picks to do.
I've been building up our list of potentials to be something special. We've got about 1,300 movies in there.
Dear God. Well, like I said, I'm going to tell you right now, for those, I don't have a schedule in October. Buckle up. I'm trying to go all out with nothing but horror picks in October. So I'm going to be subjecting myself to just a month of bad horror films on top of what I usually watch for the month.
Wonderful. I'm excited to see what we've got coming for the summer because I'm going to finally have some genuine free time and I'm going to go for broke. It's going to be good.
Yeah. It's going to be great. But until then, let's talk about our social media and what's going on the next week on our various podcasts. So social media first, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under Filmgazm Productions. If you want to shoot us a recommendation, feel free to email us at filmgazm@gmail.com. If you'd like to donate and support us in any way, you can find us on Anchor. And finally, feel free to go on our site, filmgazm.com, for reviews, trailers, articles, and all of our episodes. With that out of the way,
I think that's the first time in 3 years of any of our shows anyone's just straight up yawned during an announcement. Way to go.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'm here to provide first.
oh, I'm keeping that in.
Next week we'll be tackling our first, and I'm honored to say this, even on this show, our first Nicolas Cage film on this very show. We're already beating beyond not the main Filmgazm show.
This is beyond the bad.
This is beyond the. We're beating beyond the bad. I'm beating myself.
Somehow we've gotten ahead of ourselves.
I am very tired.
Yeah.
We'll be tackling on this show, on this particular podcast, our first Nicolas Cage film, already kind of beating the main show in Filmgazm, even though technically we're coming out with that one first, but we got to it sooner. The film ultimately picked for Beyond the Bad. I meant sooner as far as count of episodes.
Whatever.
Yeah. I'm holding the honor in my head. Of all the Nicolas Cage films I picked, you're probably wondering which one, because there's a laundry list. And ultimately, I went one that I actually haven't fucking seen yet. So I was like, fuck it, I haven't seen this one anyway. I went with Next. So that's what we're doing. All I know about it is that it has Jessica Biel, which is the other reason I picked, because anyone who knows me knows I have a huge fucking crush on her. So I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this one. I have a huge crush on Jessica Biel. Maybe I can win somehow watching this damn film.
I know I have not seen Next either, but I know that it's got something to do with precognition. I think like Cage can see the future, like 20 minutes or something into the future, and he uses it to stop like accidents or something.
Yeah, I've heard about it. It seemed interesting, but it didn't. I don't hear good things about it.
Nope, it was right at the beginning of that paycheck gig saga that lasted for a few years. Yeah, so this will be interesting. But it's Cage week, so buckle up.
Yeah. On that note, on the Filmgazm podcast, we'll continue the Cage love. Because look, don't get me wrong, I may be talking about Cage on Beyond Bad, but that does not take away how much I love the man. We'll be talking about the very kick-ass Nicolas. I was going to say John Cage, Nicolas Cage, and John Travolta star Face Off.
You need a nap.
As far as I took a nap before this, and woke up to your text, was like, "Ah, shit! I need to set up so we can record."
We're almost done. We'll get through this. Oh, jeez.
And so Face Off. On Oscar Sunday, we'll be taking a break from the Cage, because I think, have you guys done Leaving Las Vegas already? I can't fucking remember.
Yeah, that's the first time we ever did Cage on any of our shows, I believe.
Okay, so I want to say we've already kind of tackled currently the only Cage Oscar film, even though I would argue that there's a string of newer releases he should be getting nominated for. That's for another day. On Oscar Sunday, though, we're talking about the epic conclusion to the Potter saga, Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2. In time for well, you know what? I'll get to it. So finally, on sneak preview, we'll be discussing the next installment in the so far incredibly underwhelming spin-off series, Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. I cannot believe that this is the film that I'm not that excited for.
Yeah, you mentioned, latest installment. If things don't go well, it's probably going to be the last one. So,
yeah, as I think we talked about before we recorded, Warner Brothers has admitted publicly on all of the trade publications that there is no script for the fourth film yet, and they're not greenlighting 4 and 5 until they see how this one does. They are not confident in the fucking movie.
only J.K. Rowling had just kept her fucking mouth shut. But we'll say more about that on Monday.
That's just like one of their many problems they're dealing with that movie. And then in a surprising turn of events, we'll also be talking about the much more promising looking Netflix horror film, Choose or Die. I cannot believe I'm fucking saying that about a Netflix movie over a goddamn Harry Potter film.
I know, what the fuck happened?
It's like when I'll never forget when like Star Wars The Last Jedi came out. I was excited for that. Did not give two shits about that Jumanji film at the time. I was like, no, fuck you. You're making one without Robin Williams? Go fuck yourself. How's that sound? Eat my dick. How do you like that one? I had a really strong reaction at the time to them doing it without Robin Williams.
Oh my god.
And I went to go see fucking Star Wars and walked out incredibly pissed off. Like, what the fuck did I just watch? And I was seeing all the good shit being said about Jumanji. I was like, am I living in fucking bizarro world? Like, what's going on? I went to go watch it because I was curious. And I was like, all right, I can admit when I'm wrong. This was a really funny movie.
Yeah. It's, brand recognition will only take a film so far. You actually have to try to make a good one, or else people aren't going to forget. That's why Rise of Skywalker and Fantastic Beasts 2 underperformed.
Can't just coast on a name. And apparently Jumanji actually understood that part of the assignment big time. They were like, guys, we cannot coast on the fact that we are making a sequel to a beloved Robin Williams flick, but guys like myself saying, eat my dick, how dare you make this film? We have to try here, guys. We have to give them something.
Just eat my dick caught me off guard. I just pictured you screaming it at like an executive. You've gotten a board meeting somehow. You're like, you fucked up Star Wars, eat my dick. You get dragged out by security.
Can you imagine if I just walked into the movie for Jumanji? The first thing I go in a sea of like families, just eat my dick. Fuck this movie.
Smack some kid's popcorn out of his hands as you're walking out.
Robin Williams for life.
Jesus. Next time you try to go to that theater, they have your name taped up in the box office, like, do not sell to this man.
No, so I walked out going, wow, this is really funny. I really like this Jumanji movie.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You know what? I want to watch another one.
You don't have to eat my dick. I'm sorry.
You did a good job with putting The Rock and Kevin Hart together. They're really funny. And Jack Black was the best he's been in a long time. I'm so sorry.
Oh boy. Wonderful. This was good. It's a shit movie, but it was a good episode.
Yes, it was. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, maybe stay out of smaller towns during your road trip if you're, a city yuppie. You may not always be welcome there. See you next week on Beyond the Bed.